Let me moderate that caucus is a Tanraj Dulai and Sanya Taher production.
Hello and welcome to Let Me Moderate That Caucus with Tanraj and
Sanya Taher.
So, this is our first episode that we are filming with a camera. So, you're welcome.
Yeah, it's not often we grace people with these beautiful faces. I was going to refer to us as one entity, but that's not how we are.
The podcast is an entity.
The podcast is an entity, that's true.
Under the eyes of the law.
Sure, yeah. I haven't done too much research into how the law pertains to content.
We're
okay.
registered as a corporation.
Are we actually? No,
we're not incorporated. We are not. We're not even close to being incorporated.
No, we're not. Anyway, this episode is brought to you by Avatar: The Last Airbender.
No, it's not. We are not associated with Nickelodeon. We are not being sponsored.
Okay, yeah, but we are talking about it.
Yes. This episode is bringing you out to The Last Airbender, okay?
No.
We are telling you about it. And if you haven't watched it, leave, go watch it, come back.
Yeah, you should. It's a little bit of a drag for like that first season for people who like a faster paced plot. But he's very sensitive about these things. But
because the first season was really good, and I feel like people overshadow it because yes, the second and third seasons are very good, but the first season is still really good. And a lot of people say it's the worst season or whatever. I don't agree.
But the first season has much less of the plot, and you have the themes, the main themes, but they're all very more at the back of your head kind of situation.
Yeah, but I feel like that's a good entry to what's happening.
It's true. But for people who like for the plot to slap you in the face, that's not for them.
Then come to me, I'll slap you, then you watch it. That's what's happening.
The point being, when you watch the show, you should remember that it is a children's show. It's targeted at younger audiences, and while it does have really mature themes, and it is appropriate for all viewers and, can be enjoyed by all viewers, it's something you need to remember specifically during that very first season.
Yeah. But also remember that in the third episode, you see the skeleton of someone.
Okay, yeah, but it's like one of those fake Halloween skeletons. So we don't need to take it too seriously.
I think it was a real skeleton in world.
Of course it was a real skeleton in world, but for viewers, it's not like a big shock.
I feel... Okay, yeah, I guess. Because we know that his entire culture has been decimated by genocide.
So yeah, I told you that the themes are still there. They're just like a little bit in the background.
Yeah.
But... Anyway, we're going to begin with the basic premise. Because we're talking about something, and assuming that our viewers have no knowledge of what Avatar: The Last Airbender is, we're fucking them over.
I'm just going to put something...
I believe I can fly. I believe I can touch. I don't know, he's typing something, so...
I am typing,
the notation that we had for this episode, the planning is gone, so I just have to wait.
I know, I want to get the quote out.
Okay, he's searching for a quote in an article called I Believe Aang Can Save the World. Now,
because I do believe Aang
can he save the world is the question.
He can.
Did he do it, though? Because I feel like it was a sort of a mixed effort. So it's not like he could have done it alone.
I feel like he was a primary component in doing it.
Okay, then Katara was a primary component. She could save the world.
No, she couldn't.
Theoretically.
Water, earth, fire, and air. Long ago, the four nations lived together in harmony. Then everything changed when the Fire Nation attacked. Only the Avatar, master of all four elements, could stop them. But when the world needed him most... he vanished. 100 years passed. Well, I guess that's what we're getting, because freaking Goodreads can't let me do a quote. So I guess that's all we're having today.
Anyway, that is how each episode of the show begins. Essentially, to sort of explain the basic premise, there is a huge war. There are four nations. We've got the Fire Nation, the Earth Nation, the Water Nation, the Air Nation. And yes... some people in that nation have the power to control those said elements.
Well, in the Air Nation, all people could. Because they were spiritually connected, yes.
I thought air nomads couldn't.
No, all the air nomads could bend.
Really?
Yes.
That's information to me.
Prior to the genocide, all the air nomads were able to bend because of their spiritual connection.
But not all water, earth, and fire could. So some are just normal, regular people. Mm-hmm. And how much would it suck not to have powers in that universe?
It would be so annoying, especially like at the time of like Avatar when like they don't have the technology as Legend of Korra does. It would piss me the hell off. I would be an equalist.
Honestly, right?
I would.
Like, the argument makes sense. Like, these people have fire powers and they can get jobs based on the fact that they have fire powers, but because I don't, I have less opportunity to find income.
Yeah, but then you don't have to work in a factory, so.
I'm just saying. Anyway, they all have power. Like, they're basically 4 separate nations, 4 separate cultures, 4 separate whatevers. And they obviously live in different parts of the world depending on their culture. And
there
the
is
Fire
one.
Nation. Oh, sorry.
I thought we were going to explain
Okay, yeah,
since
no,
you
no.
were doing world.
Go for it. I'm
There is
sorry.
one man or woman who's born within one nation at a time. It's a reincarnation cycle. If you don't know what that is, go look it up. I'm not explaining it to white people. And then we have a reincarnation cycle of the Avatar. One person who can bend all 4 elements. Yeah, and they're basically destined to save the world.
Or at least keep it in balance.
Yeah.
And then what happens is that the Fire Nation, about 100 years prior to the show starting, decided that they wanted to wage a war because they had peace and prosperity and were like, the only way that we can spread this is by imposing our beliefs and our system and our culture upon everyone else.
And committing genocide.
Yeah, and the only way we can do that is by killing everybody off and starting a new generation that we indoctrinate to believe that our way is the best way.
The sons and daughters of the Fire Nation.
So yeah,
yes.
That's basically what they got going on. And... Yeah, okay. Oh, yeah. So basically, 100 years ago, Aang was the Avatar, and he decided that instead of wanting to protect and fulfill his duty, which is fair, he was 12.
I feel like you're oversimplifying what happened with Aang.
That's kind of what happened. He was told that he was the Avatar.
No, I don't think he was scared of his duty as the Avatar. I think he was scared of being sent away from everyone he loved, being Monkey Yatso. And he was like, no, I'm not doing that.
Tomato.
Then he ran away from the air temple. He didn't expect to shirk his duty like that.
Again, tomato. Anyway, what happened was he got like iced in this big ice ball with his bison,
his flying bison.
And there he was for 100 years until Katara and Sokka, 2 siblings from the Water Nation, 100 years later, around the same age as him, which is, we're looking between the 10 to 15 years old of 15 age range here, all of them. I don't think we were specified exactly for a lot of them.
No, because Zuko's 16, so is Sokka and Suki.
10 to 16.
And then also Azula, Katara, Mai, Ty Lee were 14. And then Toph and Aang were 12 going on 13.
Katara was a cougar. Damn.
2 years.
Still, like, if you were dating someone that was 20, 21, we're turning 19 this year, so 21, we would say that's kind of old.
No, I don't think we would. I think we would say 22 is old.
Okay, babe, whatever you said. But no, 22 is old when we were... Okay, yeah, I guess that's fair. Anyway, they find him, they discover he's the Avatar. Then they're like, we will help you save the world. And they fly around the world, learning, collecting powers.
Collecting people.
They collect Toph on the way at some point.
And Zuko, who was originally chasing him, but then they became best friends.
We'll talk about Zuko in a second.
We will talk about Zuko.
Basically, Aang only knows how to control air because he never had... Or he only knows how to control his air powers because he never had the opportunity to learn because, ice ball situation. So he needs to learn how to control water and earth and fire before he can take on the Firelord and be like, bad boy.
Yes. So we're going to start... Now that you have a basic idea of what's going on, we're going to start with a little bit of a character breakdown. First, Aang, the Avatar, the Last Airbender. What are your opinions on Aang, since I know you dislike him apparently?
I don't dislike Aang. I just, in a general way, I dislike childish people. And I know he's 11. And...
He's 12, okay.
Okay, fine, 12. I don't know. I prefer it when children who have this weight of the world on situation going on behave. And I know that psychologically it makes sense the way that he was. I just don't like it when children behave like children, okay?
I will point something out. That even though Aang does act childishly, he is also very wise, and I feel like he is the wisest member of the gang.
In a very on the nose way, though. It's not subtle. It's not...
Yeah.
It's
That's fair.
very I know better than you, and my way of living
don't
is
think-
right,
I don't
and
think he
your
ever-
way of living
No,
is
he
wrong.
never imposed his belief on others. He
I don't
simply
think
said
that's
his
true.
point
He
of view.
did.
He simply said his point of view and was like, I don't know if that's going to be good for you.
There was a power imbalance in that group because Appa, his flying bison, would only listen to him, and he was the mode of transportation. So they had to live his way while they were traveling with him. Otherwise, they'd be stranded in some godforsaken forest.
Yeah, but he never imposed his beliefs of vegetarianism or pacifism on anyone else.
There is no way he could have held the belief of pacifism. He did kill people.
He did, but not on purpose, okay?
Because then that would be such a hypocritical thing if he's demanding that Katara or Sokka or anybody else remain pacifist when he himself doesn't.
He didn't demand them to.
I'm saying he would not have had a leg to stand on if he did.
I feel like he does. Because he only attacked out of necessity, out of defense. He never attacked for fun. So, yeah.
Nobody did.
I think they did.
When did the others attack for fun?
At Toph.
No, she was a child who was not allowed to explore her powers, and that was the only way that she could. And that wasn't attacking for fun. That was her entering into a competition to learn more about her powers and learn more about herself. She wasn't like picking a child off the street and be like, you will die today.
Oh, wait. Katara did attack people for fun.
When did Katara attack people for fun?
Those two boys that wouldn't give them the tickets to the fight thing. She froze them to a fucking wall.
Honestly, that was kind of badass.
It was badass, but it was for fun.
I don't think it was for fun. It was for necessity. There was a reason.
She had a reason, but she took it all the way for fun.
I support it.
I support it too. I'm just like, she did it for fun.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, fine. Moving on, because
No, we're still talking about Aang, okay?
We are? Okay, fine.
Aang was a baby, and he deserves the world.
I don't think there's anything wrong with his character necessarily. I just don't vibe with children.
You don't like the children.
I don't.
The chillin'.
I never, especially in season 1, I think his character was very one note. And it's not a fault of the writers or even the character himself.
I think that he just didn't understand the gravity of the situation. Unlike Katara and Sokka, who grew up in the war, he grew up in peace, but then was burst into this war. He didn't have any, like, preamble. He didn't have any, like, escalation towards war. He was just like, now there's war, now he has to deal with it.
I guess that's fair.
And, like, his big kick in the ass was when the Northern Water Tribe was getting attacked, and he was like, damn, I'm the Avatar, I have to do things. I have to fight.
I mean, I will give it to him that he did take responsibility for his actions in terms of, especially in episode 1, turning himself in to save everybody else. He understood the gravity of the situation once he was exposed to it. But I still think throughout season 1, he took, and I'm not saying he shouldn't have because he was a child. While he's exploring the world, he should have a chance to explore it in a way that is both enjoyable and educational. I just don't like kids, and therefore I did not like his character.
Okay.
I can't. There's nothing else for me to
Controversial
say.
opinion to dislike Aang, the Avatar.
Especially when, like, I compare it to Katara and Sokka and, like, because they were still children and Sokka was still, you know, sort of goofy but he was still always rooted in the fact that he had to make his father proud. He had to, we're going to break down his character later, so I'm not going to go further, but he was still rooted in all of that foundational adulthood.
That's fair.
Which is why I can tolerate him. Because he was sort of like an adult as a 16-year-old.
No, but Aang was a baby, so yeah.
Just saying. I don't like kids.
Okay.
There's nothing I can do about it.
Next, we have Katara.
Oh, mommy. Oh, God. I didn't mean that in the way that it sounded. I meant that she was the mother of the group because she took on that role in the group.
She did take on the mother role.
I am not sexualizing a 14-year-old. I'm so sorry.
You're an adult. You're a legal adult.
I didn't mean to. That was the opposite of what I was trying to do. I just meant that she took on the mother role in both the dynamic of her brother and her relationship and also the group. Which is why she disliked it so much when Toph challenged her.
Yeah. Especially when she thought she was getting another girlfriend, but then, like, friggin' Toph was nothing like what she was expecting. So yeah.
Poor Katara.
Katara just wants friends. She just wants to help people.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I think Katara is a little bit of a Mary Sue character.
Why do you
Or
think
is it
this?
Mary Jane? It's Mary Sue, right?
I think it's Mary Jane is marijuana, so yeah, I think it's Mary Sue.
Okay, it's by Mary Sue. Only in the sense that, and I'm not saying that we don't see her character have flaws and we don't see her go through difficult things, but especially I think in the first season, because of the role that she takes on in the group, it's very difficult to question her authority. It's very difficult for Sokka and Aang to question her authority, especially because Aang is like head over heels in love with her, and Sokka's just used to letting her taking the lead.
Mm-hmm.
And she finds it very difficult to consider the fact that maybe she's wrong. She's a little bit of a Mary Sue. I would say only in the first season, because as soon as we introduce Toph and as soon as we introduce the Northern Water Tribe, we start to see cracks in that facade of hers.
I feel like she was. I don't think she was a leadership role. I think she was more of a caretaker role.
But with that came authority.
Yeah, she had authority, but I don't think they were destined to listen to her. I feel like Sokka took more of the authority role.
I don't mean authority in terms of like the saving the world aspect.
No, I know you're talking about authority within group leadership, but I feel like Sokka took on that role.
Maybe.
Because even in the Jet episode, they acknowledge, like, Sokka, I'm the leader, blah, blah, blah. And Katara never puts her, like, hat in the ring. She's like, no, it should be Aang. But then Sokka's like, I'm the leader, I'm the oldest. Yeah.
That's I don't disagree. He does have more understanding of the world than Aang does.
I don't think he does.
I think he does. He has more understanding of the situation that the world is in.
He has
at
more
that
understanding of the war, but I don't think he had an understanding of the world.
I think him and Aang had a similar understanding, just in different.
I feel like Aang had a better understanding of the world as, like, culturally and the world and stuff like that, and other cultures and stuff, but Sokka had a better understanding of the war. And I feel like Katara was a good middle ground for that, where she knew nothing. So she was just a bum-ass idiot. No, she wasn't. She was smart.
That's so unfair.
She was a smart girl. And she has to carry her grandfather's bags.
Oh.
That's a reference to the King of Amashu, where the guard is like, you look like a smart girl. Make sure your grandfather doesn't get into any trouble.
Oh yeah, when Aang is
dressed up as Banzu Pippin Padalopsicopoulos III.
As you can see, he knows a slightly too much about the show.
I do. It's my obsession.
He wrote a thesis paper on it.
I did, and that's why I think I might be a little bit autistic, but I don't know. That's not a diagnosis.
What? What?
Because I've been getting a lot of those TikToks about, like, autistic people being like, it's like, do you know that gay TikTok where it's like, oh, I used to play with Barbies when I was a kid, and then it's like the Lady Gaga song, and then there's an autism version where it's like, that same, like, beginning song, it's like, I'm down with autism at the end, and I've been relating to way too many of those. So yeah, that's, I don't know, I'm not gonna do anything to pursue that though.
Okay, we're gonna move on.
Mm-hmm.
Next on the list, or are we still on Katara?
Do you want to talk about Katara? Because she's cute.
I think I don't know. I don't dislike her. I think out of the group, she's probably my favorite.
I feel like she should have taken more of a chance to learn from Hama.
Oh yeah, totally. Especially in this situation. Yeah, this is
No,
the thing.
Not even just bloodbending. I feel like she should have taken a chance to learn, because Hama is the last southern waterbender. Katara did not learn the southern way. She learned the northern water tribe way. Hama was the last holder of that tradition. She should have learned how to do more traditional moves of her people, so she could try and carry that on. Yeah.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, genocidal maniacs don't love letting culture continue through the generations.
Are you referring to Hama as a genocidal maniac, or the
No, I meant the
Firelord?
war that
okay.
wiped out her opportunity to learn. No, but I think she did want to learn from Hama. That's what it started out as. She wanted to learn.
Speaking on that, I feel like only white people hate Hama.
Oh yeah, I don't hate Hama.
I love her.
She was amazing.
I feel like she should be given more slack. She was a tribal elder who was traumatized, and yeah, she should be given that slack.
Okay, let's break this down for a second. She was left in a jail cell for God knows how many years.
Yeah, she aged.
Like years, right? And she found a way to survive. And she came out of that with the perspective that her people were being hunted down, which is all true. None of this was false.
That was happening.
Her people were being hunted down, and so she needed to find a way to combat that, because she knew that A, they did not have numbers, and B, that fire is going to overpower water.
Yeah, and I've seen a lot of people say that she should have gone back to the Southern Water Tribe, but she just would have gotten captured again. And that's because they didn't attack the Water Tribe at night. That's something that they make very obvious in the Siege of the North.
Right.
They don't attack at night, and she can only use bloodbending at night.
Yeah, because the moon is what powers them, essentially. The moon is their sort of power stone?
It's their power source.
Yeah, source. That's the word I was looking for.
Not a stone. What is the Shira? They have the black garnet.
I'm sorry, I didn't have the word. No, yeah, so it fully makes sense that once she finally escaped, she was in it for herself at that point. Like, there was there's no reason for her to have any loyalty to her people. Like,
I feel like she did have loyalty to her people. She was just, like, very blinded by rage.
Okay,
and revenge.
Let me retract that. There's no reason for her to put her own life on the line and put her own sanity and peace of mind on the line for her people. I think at that point, because A, her people didn't come to save her.
That she knows of.
She was not saved by her people. She saved herself. And if I were in that position...
we don't even know I don't even think she would have known if her people were still alive. Because she was the last waterbender to be taken to that prison. She's the last surviving one. So she's like, damn, if they got all the waterbenders now, the people might as well be dead. She probably thought everyone was dead. That's why it was such a shock for her to see Sokka and Katara. So yeah.
And the moment that she had the opportunity to teach and pass on her knowledge, she did.
Yeah.
She took that on. And her methods may have been misguided, but they're not unjustified.
Yes. And she should have been sent back to a Fire Nation prison.
This is true.
They should not have.
And it's not that I blame Katara necessarily for doing what she did.
No.
Because I can understand why her idealism led her to making those choices. Mm-hmm. But there's no reason, like, there were only victims in that situation, I think. Literally. Hama was a victim. Katara was a victim. She was bloodbending against her will. She was forced into that. And Hama, of course, was so traumatized that she was unable to see beyond the rage and the pessimism that she had gained from, spending all that time in a prison, that she was unable to see the optimism and the idealism that Katara brought to the table.
Yeah. She was blinded. And for that reason, I believe that Hama deserved better. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, from the fandom, for sure.
From the fandom, from writing, from everyone. So many people hate on her.
I don't think the writing did her dirty.
I don't think the writing... The one thing that I disagree with is that they sent her to a Fire Nation prison. I feel like they could have just been like, Hama, go.
That's not fair, because in Katara's head, she would just be setting up more people in danger that way.
I don't care.
And it's not like the Water Nation had a bunch of prisons in the area.
I think they could have, like, sent her to the Northern Water Tribe.
How were they going to do that?
I don't know. But
keep her with her, like, as they travel to the...
Yeah, they could have used her during the invasion. I feel like if they tried to, like, appeal to her logos and be like, yo, Hama, we have a really good opportunity. You can fight the Firelord. You can go to his palace. And, like, she would be like, yeah, damn, I'm going.
It's possible. I can't argue with that statement, because I think that's fair.
Yeah, they should have brought her with them. And then, like, after the invasion...
But they were like, we don't need this old lady baggage.
Yeah, after the invasion, had it worked, they could have, like, been like, yo, Northern Water Tribe, we want to have her. You all got prisons.
That's not fair. If she helps defeat the Firelord, I think she's earned her freedom at that point.
I know, but they could, like, do some healing, you know?
Oh, yeah, because I'm sure they have, like, a great system for rehabilitation.
At the Northern Water Tribe, what else have they been doing? They've been avoiding the war for 100 years.
And instead focusing on the rehabilitation of their prison inmates?
I don't know. What else are they doing?
Sure.
What else is the Northern Water Tribe doing? That's my beef. I don't like the Northern Water Tribe.
Okay, sure.
Do I know why? Because they were involved in one battle 80 years ago, and then they stopped in being involved in the war. They let their sister tribe fall. Hama, the entire thing is the Northern Water Tribe fault.
I have a counter-argument. Mm-hmm. When the airplane's oxygen depletes and the masks drop, you're supposed to secure yours first before helping anybody else.
Yeah, they being secured theirs. Now they gotta go secure their little baby.
Well, they didn't know that they were secured.
I think they did.
And then when the water, and after all of this time securing, when the Fire Nation did attack, Zuko killed their water goddess spirit thingy.
Zuko didn't kill no one.
Whatever.
Zhao killed their fucking spirit.
Zhao killed the spirit of the water powers.
The spirit of the moon.
Which is the source of the water powers, okay? They don't need all this in-depth knowledge. I'm just saying.
Well, you keep referring to it as the sea.
Sorry. It's been a minute since I watched the show, but I do remember a lot of it. Anyway, let's move on, shall we?
Next we have our boy Sokka.
Our sword master.
Well, I don't think he's a master.
Okay, fine. Proficient in the sword arts.
I feel like, because he was with Piandao for, like, what, 2 days? You can't learn everything about sword in that much.
Maybe he can.
Like,
maybe he's a prodigy.
Maybe he is. I feel like he learned a lot in those days, but I feel like he should have gone back for lessons after the war was done.
We don't know that he didn't.
I know, but still, I'm just saying that in my mind, that's what happened.
Okay. Sokka is solid. He's funny. He's goofy. He's gaffy. But he's also smarty and intelligent-y and planny and creative and I don't know. He's a solid guy. I like him. Also, he's a little bit of a misogynist in the first few episodes, but Suki fixes that in him real quick.
Suki smacks the lights out of him.
We'll talk about Suki in a second, but that's basically his girlfriend. He's super misogynistic, right? Especially because he's only seen Katara in a traditional woman's role. And he doesn't believe her capable of doing anything, and that is also, he's probably a little bit insecure by the fact that she has powers and he doesn't.
Oh yeah, he definitely, like, when he was younger and Katara was born and Katara was like, I can do water, and he's like, what the fuck? I have been doing nothing.
Yeah, so the misogynistic thing probably comes a little bit from only seeing women in his life in a traditional woman's role.
Yeah, with his grandma.
With his grandma, with Katara, with the mother that he doesn't remember.
You can't just drop that.
Sorry.
His mother that he forgot.
He didn't forget. He was very young when she died.
Yeah, but Katara can remember her.
Katara watched the mother die. I feel like that cements the person in your
Katara
memory.
didn't watch the die.
She heard it then.
She heard it. She didn't watch it though.
See, this is the thing. He fights with me on semantics. Like, what's the big deal? Leave me be.
Oh, why are you bringing the Semitic people into this? Why are you being anti-Semitic?
I said semantics, not Semitic. He's turning me into, like, a racist, but I'm not.
You are a racist.
No,
but not for
not
this.
to the Jewish people.
Not for this, but you are for other things.
You can't just drop that.
Yes, I can.
Rude. Okay, anyway. What was I saying? Yeah, so it stems from the fact that he's only seen women in traditional gender roles, and he's probably a little bit insecure about the fact that the one woman, constant woman in his life.
The one thing that I don't understand about the misogyny displayed in the Avatar world is that in the past there has been female avatars, and I understand that, like, one person can't change the culture or whatever, but it's not like there was only one it's not like all the avatars were men. There was a lot of them who are women who are revered, and I feel like that would kind of be positive press for that.
But it's a woman that had more powers than any other person on that planet combined. A woman who doesn't have any powers or has the same amount of powers.
They could have changed. They would have had, like, influences on global governance and politics.
To the extent where they can change the way society views women?
That's true. That is true.
Especially when they have all these other things to worry about, such as keeping balance in the world and making sure the spirit world is safe and making sure that people aren't killing each other in a blind rage for no particular reason.
They have other things to deal with.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, they have to do
also, like, we have women in positions of power.
But they're not in godly positions.
We have women in positions of the utmost authority. We have presidents and prime ministers.
They're not gods. The Avatar is different than just a president. The Avatar is literally a god.
We have female gods.
You don't.
I don't. I only have the one, and he's traditionally referred to as a he. But there is no evidence to prove that he could not be a she, but that would be a little bit sacrilegious, so I'm just going to stick to the fact that he's a he for right now. Also, all of our prophets have been men.
Yeah.
Man, is our God misogynistic?
I don't know, because Jewish people have female prophets.
And they have the lineage continue from the mother's line.
Yeah, so maybe Jewish people have it right.
Maybe. Ariana Grande knew what she was doing.
Is Ariana Grande Jewish?
No, I meant the God is a woman.
I thought you were calling her Jewish. I'm like, I thought she was Catholic.
I have no idea what religious belief she subscribes to. That's not what I was
I
talking
know that
about.
Lady Gaga's Catholic.
It feels like she maybe not fully subscribed to the Catholic beliefs.
She met the Pope.
But just, I don't know, aren't you not allowed to, like, sexualize yourself?
She was raised Catholic.
There we go.
Is the better word. Like, you were raised Muslim.
I
And
am
now you're
being
sacralizing.
raised. I'm not sacralizing. I simply have questions.
Go listen to our Ramadan and our Rasaki episodes, and you'll see her sacralizing.
No, I don't sacralize. I have questions, and I have an open mind towards different beliefs, because if such a large group of people subscribe to this belief, there must be something in it that's worth listening to, is all I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I listened to the Muslims. I've listened to the Christians. It was time for me to listen to the Sikhs.
Speaking of listening to other people, Sokka, when he breaks into that poetry class, that was pervy. I know he does it by accident, but, like, a lot of people on Tumblr were like, oh my god, why is that lady being so mean to him? I'm like, she's having a private poetry class, and a man jumps through the window. I understand her being annoyed or, like, defensive of her.
I would call the police. 911.
I would call the
I have an
Dai Li.
intruder.
Call the Dai Li.
I have an intruder in my home. Yeah, Sokka,
He's a bit of a perv.
he has
No,
good
because
intentions.
literally the episode right after he, like, reunites with Suki at the Serpent's Pass, when Ty Lee waves at him, he's like, hey. And I'm like, no, you have a girlfriend.
It's a long-distance relationship. Can you blame him for his head being a little turned?
I can.
Not like he pursued anything.
I know, but he was into the fact that she was into him.
Everyone likes attention.
Whore.
Are you... Okay, no. I could be in a committed relationship, but if some dude, like, started flirting with me and buying me drinks, would I say no?
Ty Lee was not buying him drinks. Ty Lee was trying to punch him out.
Oh, yeah, that was a little bit of a different situation. I can understand. I'm just saying. Okay. Sokka, while often making mistakes for the sake of comedic relief in the show, has good intentions.
Yes, he has good intentions. He's very smart, and he's a good boy. He just makes mistakes sometimes.
As we all do.
Yeah.
He just makes a lot more of them than most of the other characters.
No, I feel like he doesn't make more. I feel like his are more highlighted.
Fair. But I think in terms of writing, they nailed the sort of line for Sokka in terms of being comedic relief, but also being a character that is worth being on the show and that brings value to the team.
He is intelligent, but he is not wise.
Yeah. And he does have a role on the team that nobody else does. Like, he brings value to the team, which is often what gets screwed up with comedic relief characters, because they're just there for comedic relief and they don't bring anything else to the table.
Yeah, that's what happens to Bolin in the later seasons.
Because...
Especially in season 3. Bolin gets screwed in season 3.
Yeah.
Of Legend of Korra.
Yeah. Because what happens is when you primarily have a character there for comedic relief and you don't give him any other purpose, it quickly becomes a drag to watch him on screen.
Yeah, that becomes Flanderization.
Sure, that's a word I didn't know, but yeah.
Okay, Flanderization comes from the TV show The Simpsons, and it's a phenomena with Flanders, who is the neighbor. In the early seasons, he is kind, he is loving to others, he's a Christian man, and he's very nice to other people. But as the seasons of The Simpsons go on, his Christianness becomes a highlighting feature of him. Like, he does a lot of things that early season Flanders would not. Like, there's an early season joke where, like, one of his kids asks him why he pays taxes, and he's like, oh, for the good fellows who can't get jobs or don't want to work or whatever. And then in later scenes, like, socialists are evil. Yeah, they make him become a very evangelist. So yeah.
That's bad. Don't do that to your characters.
Alright, we're gonna continue by talking about Toph. Toph Beifong, Rich Girl 101.
Before we do that.
What are we doing?
Before we do that, we took a break, right? And we were having this conversation. I just want to, real quick, if y'all ever see a sex tape of me, of someone, well, technically, never mind, we're just gonna move on. It's fine.
Yeah, we are gonna move on.
I thought there was a better way to word that, but there's not.
There is not.
Y'all will just be remaining in suspense. Wait for my sex tape.
Oh, God. Yeah, we just filmed it. So, Toph. Rich girl. Blind.
Very skilled at
Earthbending.
earthbending and shaking your world.
She learned from the Badger Moles, and she is 12. So we do not want to sexualize a 12-year-old. Again, the same thing that you did with Katara. Why?
The one with Katara I didn't do on purpose, and I didn't mean that like I wanted anything. Just that she probably could shake your world, literally. I wasn't meaning anything sexual
She
by
could
it.
cause an earthquake. Okay,
Yeah.
that's what she can do.
In your pants. Sorry.
Tom Beifong. She's a little bit
so
spoiled,
sorry.
a little bit bratty, but we love her.
She's not she's not spoiled, I think. She was capable of roughing it just fine.
She's not spoiled, but she's a little bratty.
Bratty, yes. And entitled.
Yes, very entitled.
Incredibly entitled.
Incroyable.
Like the guy from The Incredibles.
Who?
Mr. Incroyable. The French bomber.
Oh, that's Bon Voyage.
Bon Voyage! That's the one! I love that name.
I feel like it's a bit long for a super villain.
No, it's not. Bon Voyage.
I know, but I feel like that should be more of like his calling card. Like he leaves notes that say, "Oh, this will explode. Bon voyage." You know, like it's like Bon voyage. Bye.
This will explode. Bon Voyage.
You know, or like he leaves like a little.
Bon Voyage to hell. Like,
Or
where is he bon voyaging to?
He's escaping. He's not going to tell you where he's going.
No, because he's not the one who's he's saying bon voyage. So he's like, have a good trip. Where are they going? To hell?
Yeah. Or have a good trip to the hospital because I'm blowing you the hell up. Yeah. So that's tough.
There has to be more to her character. Oh, she had a crush on Sokka for like a small
I
period
feel
of
like
time.
we talked about that, but I don't ship them, and whoever does, I don't agree.
That was a weird sound. I'm sorry.
Why are you puckering your lips?
No, it wasn't. It's just sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Anyway, no, what I'm trying to say is that she has the whole like rich girl vibe, able to rough it, doesn't know how to work in a group setting, group dynamic thing.
Mm-hmm.
Which is fun because that goes on for a couple of episodes where she cannot adjust to having to consider other people in her actions.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, especially, I remember when they're first camping together, she's like, well, I did my thing, why do I have to help you guys? And
Yeah,
was
I
like,
carry my own weight, and then Aang was like, no, Appa carries your weight, and then she goes, runs away, talks to Iroh.
And then Iroh's like,
Girl, calm down.
have some tea.
It ain't that serious.
Have some tea. Calm down. Embrace your friends. And then she does. And we're good.
Yeah.
That's all I wanted to say.
And then she beats Aang up in the next episode. Yeah, because they're doing the hard work.
Yeah, we're like, Katara's like, hey, look.
I think you might want to use a more gentle teaching method, and then she hits him with a rock.
Those were parts where I didn't like Katara, where she was trying to control all the people around her.
I feel like Katara was justified in saying, like, this method isn't working.
It did work.
Yeah, but it wasn't working at the time. And I feel like she had valid concerns about Aang.
But there were no concerns to be had. Toph understood the approach that it took to learn earthbending because it's a very different style from waterbending.
That's true. That's fair.
It's not about flowing with anything. It's about being more forceful than earth, and that's difficult to do.
That's true.
So, like, you have to approach a different style of learning to that.
That is true. That is true.
I am true.
No, you're not true. Your point is true. Calm down. Calm the hell down.
Okay, I'm stopping.
Yeah, you are stopping.
Okay, fine. We're moving on. Next on the list, we have honestly one of my favorite characters in the world, and most people's favorite character. A little bit overloved, a little bit overrated,
How
but
dare
he's
you.
an amazing character, and he's been copycatted too many times over the years.
Yeah.
His name, my friends, my darlings, is Zuko. Does he have a last name?
No, he's Crown Prince Zuko of the Fire Nation. No one has
Okay.
last names.
That's dumb. They should have last names.
Why? I understand why Aang, Katara, and Sokka wouldn't have last names.
Katara and Sokka should have last names.
I don't think they should.
They're effectively Water Tribe royalty.
No, they're not.
They're the chief's kids.
I hate that point of view because so many people are like, they're royalty. Why would Azula call them peasants? But no. They're not royalty because the Southern Water Tribe is not a monarchical chiefdom. They are simply a chiefdom. And also, their father was not chief until after the events of the war. So they are not princes or princesses. And even if they were chief, they would not have a monarchical chiefdom. So that's not in place at all whatsoever. Whoever we're talking about, done. Ding,
Wow.
ding, ding.
List of things that trigger Tanraj. I'm gonna add that onto it.
No, because I see that take everywhere, and I'm like, first of all, even if they were a monarchical chiefdom in the southern tribe, they would still be peasants compared to what Azula's status in society is.
Sure, I'm not denying that.
I know, I'm just saying. People
Okay.
call Azula a hypocrite, and I'm like, no, she's not. Not in this case.
We were talking about Zuko, right?
Yes, we were talking about Zuko because
Okay.
you said he doesn't have a last name, which he doesn't.
He has, in my opinion, a perfect arc.
Yes, it's one of the most well written I've seen.
He goes from being on the wrong side, essentially. He's on the wrong side of the war, but he doesn't know it because obviously he's been indoctrinated to believe that the Fire Nation is correct in what they're doing. But he's been ostracized from the world that he lives in because he disrespected his father. So he spends a lot of time with Iroh alone, and Iroh obviously doesn't subscribe to the belief of the Fire Nation anymore.
Or he does.
Iroh doesn't.
I know, but like, I've had this theory for a while that Iroh was sabotaging Zuko's search for the Avatar.
Why?
Because Iroh obviously wouldn't want the Avatar to be taken to the Fire Nation. So I feel like he was kind of subtly sabotaging. Like, that's why he did the thing with the Paisho tile.
Well, yeah, but that says that's more in favor of that he doesn't subscribe to the Fire Nation.
I know. I'm saying something separate now.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
I'm saying something
I was very
completely
confused.
different now.
Okay, got you.
So do you think that Iroh was sabotaging Zuko just a little bit so he could be like, oh yeah, you don't need the Avatar, you can find your honor your own way?
Yeah, of course he was.
Yeah, so he was sabotaging. Imagine he got caught.
There's nothing to be caught, though, because he didn't have any real information that could be traced anywhere.
That's true.
And I think that his thing was... Well, I think Iroh knew that he couldn't convince Zuko of anything, that Zuko had to come to the realization that he was on the wrong side of the war by himself, but that he didn't have enough time at that point, so he had to sort of sidetrack him a little bit. But he ended up being wrong, because what Zuko really needed was to go back and like reclaim his position and realize that was nothing like what he wanted, which of course he learned because of the time that he spent on the boat and the dynamics that he saw between him and his crew and the gang and all of the different people.
Mm-hmm.
And he realized, and then he went searching for the truth, like, oh my god, why am I not happy? What happened to my mom? Oh, poor me, woe is me, my life is so hard.
He yells at the sky to strike him with lightning.
Yeah, that was a moment. Zuko is the theater kid that never had a moment.
Yeah, because he is a theater kid. Why do you think he has theater masks with him?
He's such a theater kid. Like, I can't.
He got them from his mom, but still, like, he still carried those masks with him when he got banished.
Yeah, he was like, well, I can take 3 of my most prized possessions with me.
He
What
took
will be most
his
useful?
blue spirit mask and both of his swords. That's what he brought with him.
Did he bring a change of clothes?
No, he's wearing
No.
the exact same thing the entire show. Zuko.
Oh, God.
Yeah, but we love Zuko, and he's just, yeah.
Also, over the course, and this is not in any way meant to sexualize him. I'm gonna preface. He gets more attractive with the haircut and
A
like the hair growing
16-year-old.
back. Hold on, and I only mean that to say that the part of that attractiveness is not the hair, but the growth that he has that the hair symbolizes, and the fact that he's kinder and softer with the softer, kinder, not so tied up, not so tight my hair is gonna fall out, not.
No, but I don't think the knot was the reason that he was bald.
I don't mean
I know,
that either.
but I thought you were trying to imply that he had traction alopecia.
No,
And-
I just mean that he had a really tight knot.
No, because that's just his culture. Don't be disrespecting the Fire Nation like that.
I just meant that he really had a tight knot in his hair. I don't even
They
remember
all
him being bald.
They all had tight knots in their hair.
I'm gonna be honest, I don't even remember him being bald.
He was bald.
I don't remember it.
No, because he had the ponytail and then he had like shaved basically the entire head.
This
except
is
for the
true.
ponytail.
I'm sure. I just don't remember it.
Because
At
you're
all.
in the Fire Nation, you're not supposed to cut your ponytail off.
Okay.
Yeah, it's their culture. To be respectful.
I wasn't disrespecting the culture, nor that I was saying that he had traction alopecia. I was just saying that the knot was really tight. My God. My God.
Also, I don't think it was knotted. I think it was just a ponytail.
That's a knot.
No, it's not.
It's a ponytail knot.
You don't tie your hair.
You
You
do.
put something around it to tie it.
So it's You're tying
I
your
know,
hair.
but you're not in and of itself knotting the hair. Like, you wouldn't, like, do, like, a knot with your
Okay,
hair.
again with the semantics. I can't be here.
Why are you bringing Jewish people into this?
Done. I'm done.
It's very fun for me to annoy her.
Okay, going back. No, I think what was really good about Zuko was that it was a clear journey that we could follow. Like, you can pinpoint moments of growth, but you can also, like, specific moments where he actually makes a change, but you can also,
And moments where he falls down.
And moments where he falls, because obviously, recovery is not a linear.
Is it recovery? I think it's just recovery, because he's not redoing.
Okay, hold on. I'm coming to realization or epiphanies or rediscovering yourself is not a linear path. There we go.
Yeah.
But like, it wasn't just that we saw the big moments, which I think most people nail when they're rating characters. They get the big moments down, but they don't get the smaller moments that build the foundation.
They
for
don't get the
moment.
failures.
That too.
They simply have success after
That too.
success.
That too.
After success.
That too.
After success.
That too.
I want to see how long we can do this after success.
We're gonna stop now because we don't have any listeners and we can't board the one listener that we do have.
Mm.
Anyway, also what I'm gonna say is that the one thing I really enjoyed about Zuko's sort of arc is that moment where he decides to go with Azula and when they're in the cave, when they're in the when they think they killed Aang, is that he very easily slots back into life with Azula and with like his father, and like he understands his place in the dynamic, and he doesn't have a problem with being the ruthless person that he needs to be there. Like, he's very capable of slotting back into that role. He just
breaks down tables at beach parties.
Yeah. So it was never a question of whether or not he was suited to or could live that life. It was always a question of whether he wanted that. Which I think, because a lot of times it's more that, oh, you weren't meant for this life. Your role as a person isn't here. And it's not that. He could have done whatever he wanted. If he wanted to fit back into that life, it would have been so incredibly easy for him.
I don't think it was easy. I think it was something he could do. But it was definitely not easy.
It was the easier path.
Yes, it was easier, but I don't think it was easy for him mentally. Like, he was very conflicted. He was going through a lot of stuff.
Sure, whatever. I'm just gonna... Okay, whatever. No, I just mean that it was nice to see that it wasn't a question of whether he could or couldn't do it. It was just more of a question of whether he wanted to, which is something you don't always see.
Yeah, that's Zuko. Prince of the Fire... Oh, Firelord now.
Now? He's dead now.
No, he's still alive.
Where is he alive?
In The Legend of Korra, he's alive.
Yeah, but like, it's been years since The Legend of Korra came out. He's probably dead.
I don't think he died yet. He's not canon.
Fine.
Also, if we were going by real life chronology, then he would still be like 20 in The Legend of Korra. Because The Legend of Korra came out like what?
No, we have to assume that Legend of Korra aged up the timeline.
Okay, so
Legend of Korra came out 4 years after Last Airbender, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and in that 70 years had passed. Mm-hmm. So 70 divided by 4 is... Well, hold on.
Do your math.
Give me a second, I am. It's 1, 3... It's about 17 and a bit. 17 and a bit years.
So, and also we have people who lived to 150 in
okay,
this world,
so if each hour year accounts to 17 and a half Avatar The Last Airbender years, okay, how long has it been since Legend of Korra finished?
7?
7 years?
I think, yeah, 7 years.
Okay, so 7 times 17, I'm going to even ignore the bit. Doesn't matter. 7 times 17 is like 100 and...
But also, the Legend of Korra timeline is different.
Is it?
Yeah, because we get, through the course of 3 years, we got 1 year. Because...
You mean in Avatar The Last Airbender?
I know, but also, that's true. Actually, in Avatar The Last Airbender, we get like 6 months in 3 years. So, yeah. But in The Legend of Korra, we get the first 3 seasons, which are basically in 1 year. With... And then the 4th season, which is basically 4 years later.
It's true.
So... The timeline is not by real-life chronology, so he is not dead until I say he's dead.
I disagree with you, but okay, we can agree to disagree. Next on the list.
Suki.
You got Suki! Okay, real quick breakdown on Suki, because we did not talk about her a lot. She is a Kyoshi warrior. She's amazing. She's fabulous. She is everything we ever wanted from a character and more.
Mhm.
She is athletic. She's beautiful. She is able to stand her ground up against Sokka. She knows how to help the Avatar and knows when she needs to step down.
Yes. Yeah. Also, can I just say that Sokka was so pompous in that episode? He's like, I'm the best warrior in my village. Girl, your village is full of kids. Calm down. Suki has been training years for this.
Yeah, that was a little bit of the misogyny.
No, because even then, like, he wasn't even the best warrior in his village when his dad was there. His dad was the best warrior, that's why he became the leader. But, like, he was not the best warrior in the village.
Yeah, Sokka's a little bit of a
He's a little bit dumb.
just a little, yeah. But anyway, this isn't about him.
I know, but Suki. And then Suki has some very good moments throughout the show where she really comes to clutch. Like, when she saves Appa.
Okay.
Yeah. That was such a good scene, like when the Kyoshi warriors like save Appa, and it's like a nice little transition from him being all dirty. Then they take off his chains, you know? You know?
We really like Appa.
We do.
He's great. He's
Mhm.
the best character. But I think the nice thing about Suki was that she was never by the writers like a damsel in distress.
Oh no, she was a distress. She caused distress for others.
Because I think Sokka's first love interest was very much a damsel in distress, so then we got that out of the way.
I feel like Yue technically was his first love interest, but I feel like Suki was before that.
No, she wasn't.
Yeah.
We were introduced to Yue before Suki.
No, we were introduced to Suki first.
But he wasn't in love with Suki.
He kissed her.
That's fair. Okay, so we were introduced to Suki, then we were introduced to Yue, but we got all the damsel in distress stuff out of the way with Yue, and then Sokka was able to have his like hero moment and feel comfortable in
Yue
his
just
masculinity.
Yue, one of the things that I have a bone to pick with is that Yue should have been a waterbender. Yue should have been the one to teach Katara waterbending.
Why?
Because Zuko learned from the dragons. Toph learned from the badger moles. Aang apparently did a lesson with Appa. But Katara's the only one who didn't learn from the original sources. So if she secretly learned waterbending from Princess Yue, who'd been secretly observing, and Yue became the moon, that would have been Katara learning from the original source of waterbending. And that would have been so iconic for her.
I guess, but I don't know. I don't think it matters so much.
I like it because I also feel like she should have been a waterbender.
I think that it would have made more sense for her to have been turned into the spirit if she was.
Yeah, because the moon was the original waterbender.
For me, logically, that just makes more sense, but like, whatever. I guess I'm not an original creator of the show, so I don't get to make those decisions.
We can still critique
We
and
can.
make our judgments.
That's true.
Yeah.
But I think it was really nice to see Suki as a character that was a side character, but still so integral to the plot when she was there. She was never thrown in, to be a side character for Sokka or to be, a prop for him or a crutch for him in
Mhm.
any way. She was a character in her own right. She had value in her own right. And when she entered the plot, she had, what's the word I'm looking for?
Value? I don't know. In your life. What are you trying to say?
I'm trying to say she had. What's the word when you have the ability to make decisions for yourself? Like
Autonomy?
autonomy. She had autonomy in the plot, which was nice.
Yes. So that is Suki, a Kyoshi warrior devoted to the former Avatar Kyoshi. Why are you clapping?
I don't know.
And next we have Princess Azula.
My hair is perfect.
Unlike Azula's when she cut off her bangs.
That's a sharp outfit.
Chan. Also, I'm gonna say it, Chan did nothing wrong.
By rejecting her? Of course not.
No, because a lot of people say that, like, oh, Azula was right when her first kiss turned out to be a loser. I'm like, he wasn't a loser. He was simply a guy. And then this girl kissed him, came to his house, and then went on way too strong for her first kiss. And then he was creeped out, and he was like, okay, yeah.
No, yeah, for sure.
Chan did nothing wrong, other than he's a bit of a jerk, but he didn't do anything wrong with Azula.
In my opinion, I think Azula's an amazing character.
She is.
She's truly like she is maybe my favorite character.
Really.
Only because she's so complex and she's so many layers and so much trauma that we can unpack.
She's an onion, yes.
And I think that the other characters compared to her are a little one note.
Okay.
I don't mean that they're one note. I mean, like, when you compare their complexity or lack thereof in comparison to her complexity, it's just because Azula has spent so much time boiling in that trauma pot that, like, when she came out,
she had a breakdown.
She was amazing. It was like that last episode where she got everything she wanted, but it was meaningless because that title was now meaningless.
Yeah.
And she was so incredibly paranoid because
she didn't have her friends. She didn't have her mother.
Yeah. The two people that she trusted most in the world betrayed her. Her mother never loved her, believed that she was a monster.
That Azula knows of.
Well, yeah. She craved her father's pride and admiration, but he was gone. She fulfilled her purpose, and he didn't look back even once.
Yeah, he went on to be Phoenix King.
It was just everything she wanted, and it was meaningless. It was worth nothing, and so she couldn't comprehend why she was still not happy. Mm-hmm. She worked so hard to be perfect, so hard to accomplish any task given to her, no matter how outlandish, no matter how incredibly idiotic it was to ask a 14-year-old girl to accomplish these things.
Yeah, to take down Ba Sing Se.
She did it all, and she made sure that she was the most intelligent person at any given time, the most talented, the most skilled. At any given time, she was the best person at whatever was demanded, and it still was never enough because she never realized the value in actually being a person that people wanted to be around.
Yeah.
She only saw value in bringing value in terms of material or skill or something like that. She never saw the value of love or friendship or trust.
Azula. But I'm gonna bring the conversation back a bit. Okay. When you were saying your thing about Azula's hair, I was thinking about Aang. I know. Because I've seen a lot of people being like, oh yeah, Aang with hair is the best Aang. No. That was a tragedy. Aang was not himself when he had hair. He was at his lowest point. He was not being authentically himself.
Yeah, he was pretending to be a kid from the Fire Nation.
I know. I know. But a lot of people are saying that he should have kept his hair. I'm like, no. His lack of hair is his final connection with his people. Let him keep it.
I think that the hair just made him seem more like a kid to them.
Yeah, I don't agree with that.
And he, as spending time in the Fire Nation, he had the opportunity to be more like a kid.
I feel he had that in season 1.
No, but I feel like he had like the opportunity to have a traditional life.
That's true.
That maybe he wouldn't have had if he had grown up in the Air Nomad Nation, but what we, like, in this society consider to be a normal life, where he went to school, he had a love interest, he had a bully, he stood up to his bully, all of those kind of things.
He had a dance party in a cave.
Okay, that's less traditional, but you know.
What, you never had a dance party in a cave?
No.
We're gonna have to do that.
Okay, book a time, book a place, I'm always free.
Well, you don't book a cave, you just end up there.
That seems dangerous.
What, you never been to a cave?
I've only been to the one at Niagara.
Okay, we're gonna find a cave, don't worry.
Where are we gonna find a cave?
We'll find one.
Oh, fine, as long as he's doing the research. But yeah, I think it was just... viewers had the opportunity to see him in a more traditional children's role, and they wanted that for him, and when that... And the moment that he shaved off his head, things got serious. Yeah,
and I'm sorry, I just can't be with the people who say that they like him better with hair. Cause
okay.
I can't. It's so annoying.
If you say so. Okay, next on the list we have, it's like a sort of subsection because they weren't like really characters of their own right. And they were. I'm not saying that they weren't characters of their own right, but they weren't main characters. Tylee and May.
Yeah, I love them. I love them. They're just girls being girls being girls being girls.
May was amazing. And the one thing I do want to unpack, the dynamic between those three girls.
Ozai's angels, as the Phantom calls them.
What?
They call them Ozai's angels, cause like Charlie's angels, but Ozai.
No, sir. No.
You don't like that? Damn, I find it cool.
That sounds very pedophilic.
No, Ozai would not do that.
How do you know?
Because Ozai is a virgin. He's an incel.
He has 2 children. I don't think he's a virgin.
He's an incel, though. Ozai is literally an incel.
Yeah, that might be true. Iroh isn't, though.
I feel like he might be.
No, he's not. That's fine.
I feel like Iroh has grown beyond the need for sex. He's grown.
Okay.
But Ty Lee, she had 6 sisters, and she never wanted to be part of a match set. So she acts out. May grew up with a suppressing mother, so she's never.
An absentee father.
Yeah, her dad was focused on his political career. Yeah. So she never really expresses herself.
No, but I think the dynamic between that friendship is so interesting because it's so, in my opinion, so reminiscent of like a Regina George.
Yeah, because Azula is definitely the head honcho, and like I feel like May doesn't give a crap enough to kind of vie for leadership, but she's like, okay, Azula, I'll do what you want. I'm bored, and then Ty Lee is definitely vying for Azula's constant attention.
No, but I think in the sense of like where Azula really thought that they were close, that they had this deep friendship, but May and Ty Lee, excuse me, May and Ty Lee never really had like any.
They were so much closer to each other than they were to Azula.
And that was purely because Azula never took the time to learn anything about them beyond like superficial stuff, right?
Yeah.
Which is why we never learned anything about them as viewers, like in terms of like until that beach episode.
Yeah.
We really knew nothing about their characters until then because Azula never cared. It was never important to Azula, therefore it was never important to the show. And May and Ty Lee, obviously, they had a friendship, a very deep friendship, and Azula was really for them just someone who they had to be there for because otherwise there would be dire consequences. And while they didn't necessarily object to it, they wouldn't have chosen it for themselves.
Yeah, I don't think they would have.
But to Azula, they loved her.
Yeah, she was like, these are my girls, but then the girls were like, no.
And like, if it's between you and someone I actually like, I'm gonna pick someone that I actually like.
I love Zuko more than I fear you. That line by May, that's why I love her as a character, because she's just so iconic with that.
Yeah, I think, and it was so unexpected from May, because she's never shown...
She never shown emotion, she never shown that love, she never, like, spoke out. She was like, no, now I'm gonna stand for something I believe in.
She never showed any loyalty towards anyone before that, but, like, and that's the thing, Azula never valued any of those aspects in a person, because they didn't result in actual... monetary or political or position gains for her.
Yeah, and I feel like Ty Lee's portrayal of Azula was more, like, what's it called, shocking, because Ty Lee seemed to be so scared of Azula. So, like, yeah. And also, like, when May was about to fight Azula, she was getting her knives out, she was about to die. If Ty Lee hadn't interfered, she would have died.
She was ready to die.
She was ready to die for Zuko.
And Azula is not even capable of understanding it. Why?
Yeah.
And I think for Ty Lee especially, it was so shocking because it wasn't even that Ty Lee was scared of Azula. She wanted Azula to love her. Azula was like one person in her life who chose her.
Yeah.
Azula chose her. Time and time again. She had the opportunity to pick any team in the world to come with her, and she picked Ty Lee and May. For Ty Lee, she's very rarely, if ever, been chosen.
Yeah, I feel like it's kind of like Scorpia. A little bit.
Yeah, okay.
Like in the way that she is like chasing friendship, and like once first Scorpia is chasing friendship with Katara, who's the pseudo Azula in this relationship, and like once Entrapped is gone, Scorpia starts to realize like, whoa, this is not a friendship. Because I feel like that was kind of her moment when she saw Azula about to take down May. She was like, damn, this is not an equal friendship.
Not even equal, but like she doesn't care.
Yeah. And
they were all under the fallacy that
Azula cared about them. Azula respected them
to some extent, like respected them enough to at least not kill them the moment that they defied her in any way. You know, and she didn't, clearly.
Yeah, and then Ty Lee takes her down with the chi blocking. Iconic. And then that also marks the downfall of Azula's mental health.
And beyond that, I don't think Azula ever saw them as equals.
Oh no, she never did.
She never saw them as threats.
Yeah.
Which they clearly were.
Clearly.
So.
Yeah.
Yes, babe.
And the fact that all the people chose, like the big ones were like May and the mom choosing to die for Zuko.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Both of them chose like, I'm gonna die for Zuko, but no one was ever like, I'm gonna die for Azula. So I feel like that was kind of like a big thing for her. And
I think that to some extent, I think Iroh plays into that.
Yeah, Iroh did not give two shits about Azula, but yeah.
I mean, I don't think he had the ability to sort of be in her life in that way. He didn't have the...
Because I feel like Ozai was kind of lording over her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But she would always see like Iroh bring home. I think as children, Iroh brought home gifts that Zuko actually loved. Like,
Yeah, it was
he
a
knew
knife.
Zuko.
It was a knife for Zuko, but a doll for Azula.
He didn't know Azula enough to know not to give her that, but
Yeah.
he knew Zuko enough to know that Zuko was into sword fighting at that time,
Yeah.
and so he gave him that, which is just it shows how he was always more invested in Zuko than he was in Azula, which is also wrong, but I don't think we can fault Iroh
Yeah.
for Azula's
And like the
downfall.
one scene that people credit, like when Iroh says no, she's crazy, she needs to go down. I'm just gonna say, Azula shot him with lightning right before that. He was dealing with some shit. He was.
Iroh is not to blame for what happened to Azula, or like just because he chose to have a more vested interest in one child's life over the other doesn't mean it's on him entirely that what happened to Azula happened, right? She had, mental issues from when she was a child. She was a little bit of a psychopath. Like, that was nothing that anybody could have done for her at that point, and it was just further fostered by her father, fostering the violence and the anger and the rage and
it wasn't helped by the fact that the mother was like, no, you don't do that, and the dad was like, yeah, do it.
Yeah,
that's conflicting.
There's a whole thing. There are whole video essays on that about how conflicting parenting styles will just make the child, listen to and favor the parenting style that favors them more.
Yeah, which is Ozai.
Which, yeah, for Azula was Ozai. And more than that, she wanted her father's love and admiration, and that was never freely given, and she knew that once it was gone, the way that she saw it happen to Zuko, and she could not risk it happening to her.
Yeah, and like even the line that she says, like, you can't treat me like Zuko, that was...
Yeah, exactly, because she saw how quickly her father would turn his back on her, and so she couldn't afford to. I think deep down she always knew that her mother would be there for her.
Yeah.
Like, no matter what she did, but she knew that was not true for her father.
Yeah.
So she didn't have the option of disappointing him or letting him down. This is like a deep dive into Azula. Oof.
Azula.
Azula.
And next we're getting out of the main characters, and we are going to the main villain, Firelord Ozai.
Oh God. Okay. Okay.
What do you think of Ozai?
I don't fully blame him.
Neither do I.
Okay. He grew up in an environment that, similar to Azula, he grew up in an environment that fostered violence, that propagandaed the war, and told him and taught him that as someone in that role of authority, he was the savior of his people. Of course, he grew up to believe that that's what was true.
Yes. Also, I'm just going to point out, he is the least genocidal of all the Fire Lords. Because, like, Sozin, obviously, the air nomads, he did that. And then frickin' Azulan did the genocide against the waterbenders in the southern tribe. Ozai just inherited the bullshit.
And I think Ozai just, honestly, in comparison, he wanted everything to go down peacefully.
He wanted everyone to be Fire Nation. He wanted to burn down the Earth Kingdom and make it all Fire Nation. But I'm gonna point something out. First, he was like, how are we gonna get them into submission? He wasn't looking for violent options, but Azula was like, yeah, we burned their hope down. And he was like, okay, I like that too.
Like, I think for him, if you look at it from an economic standpoint or just a logistical standpoint, killing every single person doesn't make sense. Killing all the air nomads, that never makes sense.
Yeah, because even if it wasn't in this like karmic balance of the world situation, killing all the air nomads is just, it paints you out in a dick move. Like, they're the pacifists that everyone likes. Like, you can't just, it's like kicking the weak link of the chain. Like, you don't just go onto the play yard and kick the kid who's like drawing or whatever. Like, that's a bullshit.
And I mean, more than, if you kill everyone, who the fuck are you lording yourself over?
The rest of the Fire Nation.
Like, but then what's the point?
Then you have more land.
The goal of this was to indoctrinate everyone into the Fire Nation belief. Not to wipe everybody out and then only have Fire Nation exist on the planet.
Because the original wipeout was of Sozin doing the air nomads because he was like, the Avatar's there. We need to get rid of that because that's a barrier.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Killing the Avatar makes sense. That yes. I get.
And then Zulan's genocide was very strategic. He was getting rid of the waterbender so he could take over the southern tribe, which he succeeded in, basically. So that's a very good move. Ozai really was like, I'm going to burn down the Earth Kingdom. No strategy.
I think Ozai was here's the thing. Because Ozai was the second son, he
He wasn't prepared.
wasn't prepared, nor was he really taught in the art of warfare the way Iroh was. We
Yeah,
saw
Iroh was a
that
general. He took down the outer wall of Ba Sing Se.
he knew what he was doing. He held Ba Sing Se for what, 40 days, and the only reason he didn't hold it was because he didn't feel like it anymore.
No, because he was sieging Ba Sing Se for 600 days.
Oh, was it 600? I thought it was 40.
600. That was his siege of Ba Sing Se, 600 days.
My mistake. I thought it was 40.
And
And the only reason he stopped was because he was like, I'm sad now. I don't want to.
Yeah, his son died, and he was like, damn.
He's like, I don't really feel like doing this anymore. And it's just, Ozai was never taught what he needed to know in order to wage a war. He was never, like, taught the strategy of it or anything. So there was none.
Yeah.
And, I mean, yeah, he was, like, ruthless. And yeah, he was good at strategizing, like, small moves for himself. But he was never good at the other part of it. So, I don't know.
He wasn't. He was bad at it. He was a bad Fire Lord.
Really bad. Yeah, that's why, like, could Aang have killed Sozin or Azulan?
I don't think he could have killed Sozin.
He would never have gotten close.
Yeah, because I feel like Sozin and Azulan had a much more strengthened court. Like, they had a lot of strength within their city.
Also, they wouldn't have wasted so much time with, like, the sparkles and the bells and the whistles. And the...
Yeah, they wouldn't have had, like, Phoenix King. They would have just been like, I'm Fire Lord, and everyone's Fire Nation now.
It's like, they were more concerned with results, and Ozai was more concerned with, like, the spectacle of it all.
And we credit Ursa for giving Zuko the drama kid gene, but it was Ozai.
Did you see that, like, the whole robe that he had going on?
Yeah, he had that stationery printed. He had those banners made. He had a crown made. He was ready to be Phoenix King Ozai. But also, not to credit from the fact that Ozai was the most powerful firebender in canon in the show.
That's true.
Yes. He was a good firebender. He was just not a good leader.
Yeah, some people have to be the soldiers and some people have to lead.
He did not inspire confidence.
He barely inspired fear.
Yeah.
He really only inspired fear in his kids, I think.
Yeah, I feel like...
Because Zhao would never have acted out the way he did if he truly feared Ozai.
Yeah, and we also see the way that Zhao was able to, like, do his speech. Like, Zhao's speech was infinitely better than Ozai's speeches. Like, we see Zhao's, like, speech that he does where he's like, we're the sons and daughters of the Fire Nation. That speech had a lot of good, like, allegories. It really incited the Fire Nation troops. And that's what he's trying to do with the speech.
For a theater kid, he was not good with the monologues.
He was not good with the monologues. He was good with props. He was behind scenes. Ursa was in front of the scenes. She was the star of the show.
Okay, since we did Ozai, I think we should do Ursa next.
Okay, we're gonna do Ursa?
Yeah, let's do Ursa next. This just makes sense.
I feel like Ursa gets a lot of hate within the fandom.
Because she abandoned her kids.
She was forced to abandon her children.
Was she?
Her rape babies. I'm gonna point out.
Hi!
She was kidnapped from her home,
Hi,
given no
Buddha.
connections to her parents or her loves, or her friends, and she was taken to the palace, where she was not allowed to send letters out. She was basically locked in this palace, and this man, now her husband, what do you think? I don't think she's given herself willingly.
I don't think she, like, necessarily was like, no, don't come near me.
I know, but I
Okay,
feel
no, I don't mean to say that consent...
It was statutory.
As long as you don't say no, it's not consent. I'm just saying that consent is sexy.
It was statutory rape for, I'm guessing, both their kids, and they probably had more, because Ozai doesn't look like the type.
Okay.
He doesn't look like the type to have concubines, I'm gonna be honest.
Oh, I'm sure he did, honestly.
I don't know.
Because he never remarried.
He never remarried.
Where was he doing all his stress relief?
I don't know. He was just doing Agni Kais with kids.
That's not stress relief.
It could be. You don't know what he's doing.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, but Ursa, like, first there's that. And then a lot of people, like, get mad about her parenting styles towards, like, Azula based off what we see when she's like, that child is a monster or whatever. But we don't know about that. We don't know about the train of events that led to Ursa doing all this.
I think we do, though.
Do we? Explain.
I think it's enough to interpret how she must have viewed her kids.
I feel like she loved them.
I'm sure she did. That's got nothing to do with what I'm talking about, though.
Okay.
I don't mean that to be
aggressive.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Let's go.
No, okay. If you look at it, she was gentle and kind with Zuko, always.
Mm-hmm.
And it was easy with him. But
Yes.
it wasn't easy with Azula, and so she wasn't gentle and kind with Azula.
But I feel like Azula reminded her too much of her rapist husband.
And so it was her responsibility as a parent to ensure that she fostered the values necessary for her not to be like her rapist.
And I feel like she tried that, but also
I don't think she did. She never explained anything to Azula.
That we know of.
Mm-mm. Okay, we saw Zuko.
Mm-hmm.
Zuko hit the turtle, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she explained to him why that was wrong. She justified why it was wrong and why you don't hurt animals.
Mm-hmm.
Azula made a mistake. She was like, no, how dare you?
Well, to be fair, one thing is throwing bread at a bunch of turtle ducks. Another thing is saying that your grandfather should die. And
it's still wrong, and you still have to sit down and explain to the child the same way.
She was like, Azula, come with me.
No, she was aggressive. She clearly was not starting the conversation with a gentle and kind tone.
But I feel like Azula did need a bit of force.
But Azula was never going to respond to a person aggressively telling her she's wrong.
That's true.
That was never in Azula's personality. She was never going to respond to that. She needed to explain to Azula why she was wrong using logic and reasoning rather than emotion. And here's the problem. Azula was not a personality type she could understand, so she decided she wasn't going to try.
That's true.
I win.
You do. But I still feel like Ursa gets way too much hate for what she does. Like,
That's fair.
If you read the comics, like, there's the point where she was, like, forced to leave. She was like, no, you can't have the kids or I'll kill you. Ozai was like, yeah, if you try to take the children, I will kill you and I'll kill everyone you love.
She didn't know if anybody she still loved was still alive. She couldn't send out letters.
She didn't send out letters. She didn't know her family was still alive. She didn't know
So for all she knew, she had nothing to lose. They could all be dead anyway.
The kids.
Well, okay. She didn't like Azula anyway.
Yeah, but if she killed the kids, she loved Azula. She just didn't know how to raise her.
She didn't know how to connect with Azula at all.
Yeah, and I feel like it was easier for her to connect with Zuko because he's a theater nerd. And that's what she was before she got kidnapped.
But you see that happening with a lot of parents. If they're able to easily connect with their kid, they will. Mm-hmm. And if they can't, they just decide they don't want to put in the effort. And, like, you can be disappointed.
But also, there's the fact I feel like she's more protective of Zuko because Ozai was like, this kid... Because, like, when there's a scene in the comics where, like, Ozai, when Zuko's born, Ozai doesn't know if he's a firebender, so he's like, I'm just gonna kill the kid. And I feel like that's the reason that she's so protective of Zuko, because she knows that, like, once she's gone, Zuko has no one looking out for him.
That's not true. He had Iroh.
Yeah, but Iroh was at war. She didn't know if Iroh was gonna survive.
That's true. That's fair.
And when Iroh did come back from war, she didn't know if Iroh was gonna be the same person. She didn't know if Iroh was gonna be downtrodden, broken by war.
Okay.
She was alone.
And he was downtrodden, but he wasn't broken.
Yeah.
Okay, no. Here's my thing. I understand that she wanted to compensate for Ozai favoring Azula, but it wasn't okay for her to favor Zuko.
It wasn't.
And if we're going to say that Ozai was a terrible father to both of them, then I think it's safe to say that Ursa was at least a terrible mother to Azula, if not Zuko. But honestly, in my opinion, I think she was to some extent. She didn't explain the world in which he was growing up in. She taught him to, be quote-unquote soft, which I'm not saying is wrong. But, and I'm not saying you shouldn't,
She raised a beta.
Omega, really.
No!
Sorry, a little bit of alpha beta humor for you. No, I don't mean that. I mean, okay, she raised Zuko to believe that his softer qualities were good, and I'm not saying that was wrong, but she didn't teach him how to have a harder shell in order to survive, being in that environment. She didn't know that, like, he was going to be kicked out. She didn't know anything. He just always expected, like, even coming to that Agni Kai and the stuff that led up to it, right? He just expected that his father wouldn't hurt him like that. And there is nothing in the history of their relationship for him to have expected that.
I feel like there might have been.
He refused to fight his father because he thought that if he refused, his father would also refuse.
That's fair.
There was no reason for him to have that thought process, and he only had it because he was taught by Ursa in his foundational years that being kind would lead to receiving kindness, which can sometimes be true, but was not true for the setting that he was growing up in.
It was not.
So Ursa really failed both of her children.
She tried her best. And she was a victim. I
agree. But, I mean, she was also a mom, and I think that if you're going to take on the responsibility of having kids...
I don't think she chose to have kids.
I'm sure she could have found an abortion somewhere.
Girl... Do you think
saying.
if she miscarried a child, do you
Also,
think they would
that
have
would
let
have
her
made
survive?
that would have made her more valuable, because if she miscarried a child and didn't provide an heir, he would have had to keep trying until she did. Because it's not like he could take on a second wife.
I think he could.
I don't think it was allowed. Because if he could, he would have.
Yeah.
He would have found someone he liked more, but he didn't.
I don't think anyone would like him. But
It's
also,
not
I feel
about
like
him liking someone.
I feel
he
like
liked
she
more.
continually had like miscarriages. That would have become a liability for the family.
It wouldn't have been continually. It would have been 2.
Yeah, but I think they would have kept on trying.
Fair.
And then she would have just gotten raped more.
Or rather than miscarrying, just not get pregnant in the first place.
I don't know if you understand the
There's
contraceptives.
probably some kind of contraception out there. You're telling me the Fire Nation with all of their boats and things didn't have a birth control pill?
Do you think they care about that?
They might.
I don't think they do.
Okay, fine, if you say so. Either way, all I'm saying is Ursa failed her kids in the same way in a different way that Ozai did. But if we're going to say that Ozai was at fault there, so was Ursa. And I'm sorry, but her trauma doesn't invalidate the mistakes she made.
Okay, that's fair. But still, I feel like she gets more hate than she's due.
That's fair.
Mhm.
It's justifiable. Her actions are justifiable, but not excusable.
Yes.
I keep saying that because it's true.
And we have our next character on the list, another member of the Fire Nation royal family, Iroh.
Uncle Iroh.
What is the accent?
I don't know. I was gonna say something, but I couldn't think of anything. He plays Pai Sho.
He likes tea.
Lots of tea. Jasmine tea in particular.
Actually, ginseng is his favorite.
Really? I thought it was Jasmine.
That's what he says in the very beginning, that ginseng is his favorite. And I've seen the justification that the reason that he drinks more jasmine in the Earth Kingdom is because ginseng is a Fire Nation tea.
Fair enough.
So it makes sense that he would drink an Earth Kingdom tea when the Earth Kingdom. And not raise suspicion and be like, I love ginseng.
Sure, yeah. He's super wise.
Yeah. Except for when he firebends his tea.
That was dumb.
Or names his tea shop Dragon. I'm like, oh, okay. Why does this guy have obsession with dragons?
It wasn't an obsession. He just named his shop after it.
Not the badger moles that
Why
gave
would-
us the gift of earthbending.
He didn't have the gift of earthbending.
Yeah, that's fair.
What else? He.
But also, like, naming it after something that's so iconically Fire Nation, like a dragon, is a bit suspicious. Like, if someone opened, like, during World War II, someone opened a tea shop named the Golden Streusel or something, you'd be like, yo, what are you doing repping Germany?
I don't think anybody was opening tea shops in World War II.
In the United States, probably.
Probably.
Or in England, like, you open a tea shop in England and be like, it's the Golden Streusel. Hello. You know?
Jesus.
You know, people would be suspicious.
Okay, we're moving on. Iroh was honestly like a really, really good choice as
He's
a
a
character.
very good mentor character.
And also a very good foil. That's the word I'm looking
Yes,
for.
he was a little bit pervy, but that's fine.
They all were, apparently.
Yeah, they all. It's Brenda in the family.
Sokka was pervy.
Sokka was pervy.
So it doesn't run in the family unless
Well,
you're
we
trying
don't
to
know
say
what Hakoda
that-
is.
Are you trying to tell me Hakoda is a Fire Nation baddie?
No, we don't know, like, if he's also a bit of a, ladies' man. He could be. He probably is. Look at him.
He could have my ladies anytime. I'm kidding. I'm joking. But that wasn't bad because he's older than me, so it's fine.
It wasn't, but he is a taken man.
No, his wife is dead.
I know, but in the comics, he has a girlfriend.
He does.
He has a girlfriend from the Northern Water
And he
Tribe.
didn't even ask me once.
I know, but Katara hates her. Katara hates the girlfriend.
Little stepmommy action.
No, Katara hates the girlfriend because the girlfriend is trying to modernize the Southern Water Tribe, and Katara's like, no, this is my home. You can't just be bringing in your technology.
Are you fucking kidding me? No, I can't. The fact that in Legend of Korra, the Southern Water Tribe was still a goddamn huts in
It
snow.
wasn't. It was not.
Yeah, it was.
No.
They didn't have cars
They
or
did.
anything.
They did.
No, they didn't. We went there.
Yeah, in the second season, they had all that festival shit.
A festival, but they didn't have any of like the Sato mobiles or.
Well, I don't think those would be convenient in the snow.
But they didn't. Are you kidding me? Are you telling me that they didn't have a version that
Yeah,
was
they
like
had- they
a
had this-
4-wheeler all terrain?
They had the snowmobile things.
Oh
And
yeah, I forgot about that.
They had technology in the Southern Tribe. But also the reason In that comic, it's really shady. The fact that the Northern Water Tribe wanted to take control of the oil being found in the Southern Water Tribe, giving us that action, and Katara was completely justified in hating that bitch.
Sure, yeah.
Mhm.
That's kind of wrong. To be
What?
like taking the oil that's found somewhere else. It's like if America was like, Canada, you got oil, give it to us. We'll sell it for you. You can have 10%. We'll
We
do the
do have
selling.
oil.
Yeah, we do have oil. We frack for it.
What the frack?
What the fuck? Sorry. We're moving on. Anyway, he was a really okay. So Uncle Iroh's like thing was he was just a really good foil, especially in season 1, because Zuko was so serious all the time that where Sokka was the comedic relief for that group while still providing value, Uncle Iroh was a comedic relief for here while still providing value.
Yeah, he was fun.
Avatar: The Last Airbender was really good at like giving characters multiple roles, which, yay, nobody now can do. So, great. Riverdale, Archie is just hot bod. That's it. That's all he does.
I never watched Riverdale, so I wouldn't know because I'm better than you.
Okay. Jane the Virgin.
La Virgen.
What?
La Virgen de Guadalupe.
Sure.
You don't know who that is?
Grandma is just wise, but I mean later she develops a sex life, so I don't know.
She's not wise. She's Catholic. That's her character trait.
Her character is that she's Catholic. She's a Catholic grandmother that raised that now has 2 children, having children out of what? Two. What's a word like?
2 descendants.
Two descendants. That was really what's the opposite of ancestors?
To be fair, like her granddaughter was pretty on the good and righteous path.
But she still had a child out of wedlock.
Until she got artificially inseminated by a damn doctor.
She still had a child out of wedlock, and Raphael proposed to her before they were having a child, and it was her baby daddy, and she was like, "No, I don't think I can. Sorry." Also, can I just say I hate Jane so much. I despise her as a character. She pisses
We
me
all
off.
despise Jane.
She's never capable of making a decision. Then she makes a decision, but she's like, "What if?" It's like if I was like, if I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna start a podcast with Tanraj, my good friend Tanraj here. But what if I had something better going with my other good friend Sajana? Let me just I'll go over there."
We don't say other people's names in this.
We have. It doesn't
I
matter.
know, but didn't we bleep it out?
No, I didn't. It was too much work. You can bleep this out if you want.
No, I'm gonna keep it in.
Okay, so if I was like, what if I want to go with my other good friend, Sam? Ooh, Sam, hi, babe. Ooh, no. Oh, wait, no, Tanraj. Oh, wait, no, Sam. It's like, why? Pick a man and get
called
out of
the
their
love
life.
triangle.
And then they just wait for her forever. Michael's like, I know how to fight. It's like, no, Michael, you know how to be a doormat. Pick up, move on, date someone new.
Literally, I feel like Raphael was the better choice, though.
No, he wasn't. Michael was the better man. Michael was always the better man. Okay.
For her child, Raphael was the better choice.
No, he wasn't. Because Michael never had an opportunity to actually spend any real time with Mateo because he died.
That's fair. That's fair.
But the little that we saw, he would put on the voices with the puppets and everything. So he did the thing.
I am talking purely from a resource point of view.
Oh, like money? Well, Raphael was always going to provide for the child. That was never in question, whether or not they were together.
It's kind of better to have the money being from,
I'm just saying,
inside the house.
Michael was the better man. Okay, and look, I don't advocate for just waiting around for a woman to change her mind because gross. But, here's the thing. When Jane decided that she wanted to explore things with Raphael, Michael never once, was rude or negative in his behavior towards her. He set boundaries, being like, I can't be around you right now, or I don't really want to spend time with you, or you can't show up to my office unannounced. And he moved on, like fucking some other girl on his office table. But
office table is called a desk. Grow up.
Whatever. But he never really did anything to hurt her. Whereas Raphael, when she was like, "Hey, my husband came back from the dead. I just need to double check, make sure there's no leftover feelings over here." He poisoned their child against her.
Okay, and I feel like that should be the end of this episode because this is about Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Sorry. Anyway.
Goodbye, and thank you for listening to Let Me Moderate That Caucus with
Follow,
Tanraj,
and
Dulai,
subscribe. And, oh yeah, and my name is Sunny Taher. Thank you for listening.
Bye.